It's almost New Comic Book Day. It's time to take a look at the books coming out so I can tell you what's on the pull list. Welcome back to Comics Are Dope. I'm BJ Kicks, and this is the pull list, my weekly video series where I take a look at the books coming out, and I'll tell you what's on my pull list, what books are on the chopping block, and what's on the maybe list I'm making a game day decision on. Now, this week is actually a pretty stacked new comic book day. I'm pretty excited about almost every title on this list, but there are no books that I'm more excited to read this week than Miles Morales, issue number 5. Now, Miles Morales, written by Cody Ziegler with art by Federico Vincentini, has been amazing. Story, great. Art, excellent. Colors by Brian Valenza, chef's kiss. It's amazing. And the combination of all of them just make for a really fun comic experience. It's not perfect, but it's really, really close. It's a really good book to me. By far the best Spider-Man book on shelves. So, we've got a new villain that we introduced in the pages of Miles Morales, and this villain's name is Rabble. And I'll let you go back and read the first 4 issues to understand more about who Rabble is and what her motivations are, why she's so connected to Miles Morales, and why she's just going so crazy, and why her methods are so extreme. But once you find that out, maybe you'll be as excited about her as I am. Now, I'm enjoying the slow rollout, or I'm enjoying the rollout of this new villain. I'm enjoying the stakes. As we left the cliffhanger last issue, it appears that Rabble has Miles's family. And I'm like, sheesh, like, it doesn't get more, like, the stakes don't get higher than that. So I'm curious to see how this is going to go. Now, I can't lie. I'm a little nervous about this series. I'm enjoying it. I'm loving it so far. But I'm like, when you start off your story with, here's the supervillain who knows my secret identity and has my family captive. Once he beats Rabble, where in the world can the story go from there? Like, that's like, I don't know, rolling out the Justice League and having them fight Darkseid as the first big villain. I don't know. These aren't questions I have to answer. I'm just going to read the book, starting with issue 5 out this week with a cover price of $3.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And since we're talking about Marvel Comics, let's move right on down the pull list with Fantastic Four issue number 6. Fantastic Four. It's written by Ryan North, and I think the art's by Iban Coelho. Let's look, though, because I could be wrong. It's Ivan Fiorelli. Good thing I looked back. So the art on Fantastic Four has been amazing. The story's been pretty good as well. I've been enjoying it. Each issue has been a fun issue. I jumped in with issue 3 and then had to go back and read issues 1 and 2. In issue 4, though, issue 5, we had the Fantastic Four kind of get trapped in like some sort of pocket dimension and kind of get like all sorts of stuff like reversed or whatever. And Reed had to find a way to undo the damage. And in his doing so, he told everyone like, hey, we got to like handle this a very specific way, or, you know, it could be the end of the world as we know it. And then it turns out, if you read the last page reveal, they didn't quite do things a certain way. So in this issue, we're about to get all sorts of calamity ensuing, and I'm excited to see how they think themselves out of the situation. So Fantastic Four issue 6 has a cover price of $3.99. I'm grabbing the cover A by Alex Ross. Moving on to Silver Surfer, Ghostlight, issue number 3. Silver Surfer, Ghostlight, written by John Jennings with art by Valentin Delandro. This book is great. So basically this book is answering the question from Silver Surfer number 5, and who shall mourn for him, where Al Harper basically sacrificed his life so that the Silver Surfer could live. And through the magic of comic books, Al Harper is back in this series. But not only is he back, we're also introduced to some of the people that he left behind when he passed way back in the 60s. Although somehow in comic book years, it's only been 10 years of life that's passed since Al Harper disappeared. So we're getting new ramifications. We're learning more about what's happened to Al Harper in all this time. And things are impacting his family in ways that maybe he's not prepared for. And of course, they're not prepared for either. In particular, I'm in love with the two little kid characters that we're introduced to in issue 1. Issue 2, something crazy happens to them. And that last page reveal was insane. So I can't wait to open up the pages of issue 3 to find out what's next in their journey. Silver Surfer Ghostlight number 3 has a cover price of $3.99. I'm grabbing that cover A because Torrin Clark drew it. And if Torrin Clark draws it, I'm buying it. That's how I feel. Moving on, let's go to the next book on the Marvel pull list, which is Storm and the Brotherhood of Mutants, issue number 3. So Storm and the Brotherhood of Mutants, one of 3 titles that spun out of the whole Sins of Sinister event, which is basically an Age of Apocalypse style event, kind of mashed up with Powers of X, that is kind of showing us an alternate timeline where Sinister was in control and then quickly fell out of control. I can't lie. I was hyped for this at first, and then I was like, I don't know how it's gonna go. And right now I'm just kind of like, all right, when is it going to be over? Like, can we just get back to regular X-Men, please? But Storm is my favorite X-Men, so I'm hoping that Storm and the Brotherhood of Mutants kind of redeems it for me ahead of the whole Sins of Sinister Dominion finale, which I believe is coming out next month or in a couple of weeks. So in the meantime, I'm just kind of biding time until this is over. But Storm and the Brotherhood of Mutants, issue number 3, has a cover price of $3.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And the last book on the Marvel Comics pull list this week is X-Men issue number 21. X-Men written by Jerry Duggan. What can I say about X-Men? Honestly, the state of all the X-Men books right now is just weird to me. We've got the Sins of Sinister event going on, and at the present moment, I couldn't really care less about Sins of Sinister. Then elsewhere, we've got X-Force and Wolverine by Ben Percy, both of which are great in the last 5-6 issues. Amazing. We've got the Beast Agenda that's just wrapped up. Now we're in the Weapons of X storyline. Basically, Beast has gone rogue and Wolverine is like out for retribution. That's great. Loving that stuff. And then we got X-Men, which is like out of nowhere crossing over with Captain Marvel and doing this whole like Attack of the Broods storyline. And I'm like, what is going on right now? Jerry Duggan's X-Men is good. It feels like it's the consolation prize for everyone who like thought they were getting something amazing with all the interconnected X-Men stuff. And it's like, you know what? Here's an X-Men book just for you X-Men fans. Don't even worry about what's going on over there. And to be fair, it's a pretty enticing offer right now. So X-Men issue 21, we're going to get more with this whole Attack of the Broods, and we're going to find out what's manipulating Brew, since he's supposed to be the king of all the brood. And hopefully we can end this conflict. So X-Men 21, it's got a cover price of $3.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And that's it for the Marvel books on the pull list. Sticking to the list, my Marvel books are going to cost me $20 this week. Now, let's move over to the distinguished competition. Talk about the DC comic on my pull list, and that is Superman Lost, issue number 2. Almost said Storm, but Superman Lost is written by Christopher Priest with art by Carlo Pugalian. You say it fast, it sounds right, no matter what, right? Superman Lost, a great series. The art looked amazing. Amazing. And the story's pretty good too. Justice League go out on a routine mission that is honestly all but routine. Superman is needed to kind of repair a hole in space-time. I don't know how you can explain it away, physicists, but long story short, he kind of goes through a black hole and comes back. And when he comes back, it seems like he was only gone for a couple of minutes, but in his world or his reality, he's been gone 20 years. And so he's going to start to catch Lois Lane up on everything that happened in the time that he was gone. And I'm assuming this is going to end up being a story about, like, how well, it says in the solicit, how can love survive like that type of distance for that amount of time and so on. Seems interesting. It's Christopher Priest, so I expect it's going to get wacky and feel disjointed at times, but I trust Priest. So Superman Lost issue number 2. It's got a cover price of $4.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And that's the only DC comic book on my list this week, so it'll cost me $5. Let's move on to the indies, shall we? So, looking at the indies, the creator owns the lesser known, smaller publishers. We're going to start this one off with a book from Mark Millar, who is about as big as any writer there is, right? The Ambassadors, issue number 2. So The Ambassadors is a series where in issue 1, we learn about this mad scientist genius, Dr. Sung Jun Yoon, I believe. But anyway, Dr. Yoon basically escapes from prison and puts the world on notice that she has unlocked the key to giving people superhuman abilities. And she is going to gift those superhuman abilities to 6 lucky citizens of the world, each of which will get to represent like a major continent outside of Antarctica. And so that's exciting. They're going to get to like be ambassadors. I did it, right? So that's interesting in itself. The fact that she's given away these powers in like this Willy Wonka style competition, that I'm like, okay, Willy Wonka with an adult twist, cool. And then there's also still Blood and Guts for all you Blood and Guts fans. Ambassadors number 1 was pretty good. I'm excited to see what issue number 2 is going to hold. Now, each issue is done by a different artist, A-list art talent. I've never heard of Carl Kerschel. I don't think I've seen his art before, but the cover looks enticing, and I expect the art on the inside to match. So I'm excited to see how it goes. Ambassadors issue number 2's got a cover price of $3.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And the next book on the indie pull list this week is Clear, issue number 2. Clear, written by Scott Snyder with art by Francis Manapul. This was part of the Comixology Originals deal, so you can actually read this on your iPad right now. But where's the fun in that? Instead, get a print issue, get 2 issues in 1. This is basically going to be issues 3 and 4 of the series out of 6 total. And have a good time. Now, this book is basically, there's this cop. We can call him a cop, but he's an investigator. He's investigating the murder of a former love interest. And the way it unfolds is really interesting. Now, the world that we're living in, it's a world where everybody views the world through like a lens of their choosing. There's a device called a veil, and it's basically like putting a filter on everything you see. So if you want to see the world like, I don't know, Back to the Future 3 and it's a Western, cool, you do that. If you want to see the world like Tron and have all cyberpunky and stuff, cool, you could do that too. But our main character, whose name escapes me right now, he chooses to see the world as it is. No filter, no veil, no nothing. And he's going to investigate this murder, even as everyone else is, seeing things a different way. So very interesting, very exciting. If nothing else, it's a great excuse for Francis Manapul to draw whatever he wants. And boy, does it look amazing. One good thing about this being in print is that there are a ton of variant covers, almost all of them by Francis Manapul. And you can't go wrong with any of them. This book's got a cover price of $4.99. I'm grabbing cover A. Now, next book on the indie pull list this week from Image Comics and Rodney Barnes. This is Monarch, issue number 3. So Monarch, written by Rodney Barnes with art by Alex Lins. And this book is dope. It's really dope. There's an alien invasion. This kid named, is it Trayvon? I feel like his name is Trayvon. But this kid named Trayvon is basically like, trying to protect the other kids in his group home, as well as, of course, his adopted mother, from this alien invasion. And he basically gets abducted. And we find out some very interesting things about Trayvon in issue 2. How do I say it without spoiling it? There's a very interesting parallel to, say, Dragon Ball Z. And that's all I'll say. It's really good. Issue 2 really hooked me, so I'm excited to get into issue 3. The art is amazing on this series, by the way. Monarch issue number 3. It's got a cover price of $3.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And that leads us to the last book on my indie pull list this week, which is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Usagi Yojimbo, wherewhen, issue number 1. Now, despite owning most of the Dark Horse Usagi Yojimbo series in trade paperbacks, I've never read an Usagi Yojimbo story. I gotta fix that. And what better way to fix that than a team up with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? And to make it all even more enticing, just look at that variant cover. Look at the cover by Kevin Eastman and tell me you wouldn't buy this book. I'm absolutely buying this book. It's got a cover price here of $4.99. I'm grabbing the cover B. Now, that's it for the indie books on my list. If I stick to the list, those will cost me $18 this week. And before taxes and before my subscriber discount, that brings us up to a grand total of just $43 for the week, which means I don't necessarily have to chop any books off the list. I can't lie though. I am very tempted to stop buying any Sins of Sinister content. But I mean, we're so close to the end. So that's that. What's on your list this week? What are you excited to read? Why did my TV just come on out of nowhere? What are you excited to read? What are you on the fence about? What are you dropping this week? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much to the channel members who make this video possible, who make all the content on this channel possible, who make it possible for me to have a pull list. You guys are the real MVPs, so I really do appreciate you. That's why your names are scrolling across the screen right now. And if you'd like to help support the channel in the same way, consider clicking that join button down below. But either way, I'll see you in another video review very soon. Until then, stay awesome and make sure you're reading something dope. Peace.